Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Omar Tariq, but everybody calls me OT, and I am a Muslim life coach for husbands and future husbands that are hoping to build a healthy Islamic marriage that gives them peace. If that's something that resonates with you, you could check out my link in the description and book a call with me today. So I want to talk today about a story I heard recently. The sheikh I was listening to, he talked about a man, and he was a sheikh in Sudan. His name was Al-Fatih Karibullah from Sudan. This was a 6'4" brother, very handsome. He got to the point where he was so popular in Sudan that the politicians, even the local politicians, if they wanted to run for a position, they had to actually go to him and try to win over his favor because he had what was counted as about 1 million followers by the time that he kind of built up his life to this point. And it was asked of him that subhanallah, you have an amazing marriage balance here. And he gave a formula. So a formula like this was very intriguing to me. And I'm not going to say that this is the only formula that can exist, but this is from our scholars, and we should pay attention to it and see what worked in his life. So he said, so basically, kind of background of this, he would have a lot of important visitors. Like I mentioned, some politicians and some other people, and he had like a separate house for them, a diwan, the sheikh called it, and the house and the guests were managed completely by his wife. And the people were amazed. They're like, how is it that you guys have such a relationship? She's willing to do that and put up with that. And I mean, she had a team of people anyway, but it's still a lot of work, subhanallah. I mean, I can imagine any wives watching this, like, it's already hard enough to take care of my husband. I got to take care of my husband's guests too. Like, why, right? But subhanallah, she did it, and I got to thinking, like, what was it that the sheikh was doing? And, to her, that she was okay with that. Well, that actually comes down to that formula. And there's the hadith that the sheikh that was giving the talk, that he mentioned that, the smartest of people are those who learn from each other. And learn from, especially from each other's mistakes. So what he would do is he broke it down. He said, listen, every single day, I'm going to spend 1 hour with my wife. Now, this segues into kind of how we are as people, and just this might not be something that every man necessarily needs. And maybe even some women might say they don't need it. My wife heard this. She's like, oh, I don't need a full hour. She sometimes wants her alone time. But basically, he dropped everything and he showed her importance. And he would do that 1 hour a day. And what that looks like, even when he had important guests that were there, and we know in Islam being hospitable is very important, he'd say, listen, they'll be fine. They can wait. We're about to go out. We're going to go do something. Or, you want to sit down and talk, we're going to do that. They can wait. They're okay, right? Even just communicating that. You're prioritizing that this is time that's set aside, and this is what we're going to do. That might look like in modern times, maybe you're sitting down and watching a show. You're watching a movie. Maybe you're reading together. Maybe you're discussing something that maybe she's cooking and you're helping her cook, or maybe you're cooking for her, or maybe you're massaging, rubbing feet, whatever. There's so many things that you can do, subhanAllah. Maybe you like to go for walks, maybe you go for a jog, maybe you go work out. But it wasn't just, hey, the sheikh wants to do it. He was just taking the time and saying, whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is that maybe you need, that's what we're going to do, inshallah. So amazing. So 1 hour a day. Then the second thing that he did is 1 day a week he gave her. 1 day a week, we're going to go out. And we're going to spend the whole day together. And when he goes out, that going out was coupled with a gift, a small gift. Maybe a flower, maybe some flowers, maybe something. Like, you recognize your own financial situation, whatever is a small gift, but just something tiny. Just to show a token of appreciation. Now again, the sheikh that was giving the talk, he mentioned that, we as men, we might not need this, but this is kind of a bit of a love language towards a wife, towards just how women are created, that they would appreciate this more. And I'm not gonna say that men don't appreciate this, but this was something that I reflected on and I saw in my life that, alhamdulillah, if my wife asks for something, I'll try to give it to her, but she won't ask for something, and then I'll try to figure it out and try to get her something. And even something small, she really does appreciate it. And I think this is just something that's normal. Anybody likes getting gifts. It kind of brings people together. But especially as a husband, I think it's a wonderful practice to have. So go out once a week and spend the whole day together and give a small gift. And then the third part of the formula, the three awrat that this sheikh from Sudan gave us, is he would give one big sizable gift a month. And again, these are practices that must be initiated by the husband. And the discipline to do this is not easy, but what was said was the one that is disciplined already with the Creator will have no problem being disciplined with the creation. So this again goes back to us building up ourselves, building up our discipline to be able to do things in our life. And the sheikh that was giving this talk was just giving us the reminder that there is no success that we will achieve in life that will taste good if our household is in shambles. So this was this sheikh's way to get out in front of it and preemptively do it, make sure that he's allotting time. There might be times you have to give more time. There might be acute issues that we have to handle and talk about and deal with, but it's just something that, again, a formula, it's really nice to have even as a base. And I discovered it myself, just kind of reflecting, that the Prophet ﷺ would do this a little bit. I was just looking up some hadith, and one narration that comes to mind is how Aisha radiallahu anha would narrate that the Prophet ﷺ would sometimes just be reciting Quran and just putting his head on her lap and spending time with her. And she would be hearing the Quran and he would be with her. And, I think to myself, if I'm reciting Quran, maybe if I'm memorizing something, I might be in my own world, looking at the mushaf, need some quiet, just on my own, just locked in, right? But this was not that, right? He was spending time with her. And sometimes, subhanAllah, there are ways to do things that you both want to do, but this was just one of the many examples of how the Prophet ﷺ was able to do this and balance it. Now, how could this look in our modern times, right? Give some actionable items. You first of all have this conversation, talk to your wife and see like what is it that she wants, what is it she needs. And these are kind of conversations we both need to have. Wives need to have these conversations with husbands. But to give an example, some women have a tough time sleeping, or some women have anxiety, and that's not, again, any of these things can be men as well, but I'm just going to bring it from the perspective as a man, that this was actually communicated to me and I reflected on it, and I told my wife, hey, this is something, if you need me to do this, then maybe at the end of my day, I'll try to end my day like an hour earlier. I'll put a time that, after this time, I'm not doing anything for me. I'll even try to brush my teeth before this time, right? This last hour of the day, what do you need, right? And if you need nothing, alhamdulillah. But what is it that you need? What's going to help you? What's going to kind of bring you down a little bit so that we can just kind of really wind down and not worrying about what I need at that time. I can worry about that beforehand. And alhamdulillah, I can fall asleep pretty easily. But there's some more preferences that I found that my wife, she would like to have, and it's easier for her to sleep. And for me, I'm just gonna worry, right? If she doesn't fall asleep well, then I'm gonna think to myself, like, what could I have done to make it better? So it could be the last hour of the day, right? Or it could be as soon as you get home from work, you say, hey, we're gonna go for a walk. This is what we're doing. We're gonna spend time. Just want to be with you. Sometimes it might be something that she suggests. Sometimes she just wants to sit with you and just spend time, right? But again, we should learn from our scholars. We should learn from people that have been through this before. And this sheikh had a great kind of relationship with his wife, alhamdulillah, and they were able to kind of work together to do other larger acts of worship. And this was just one way he kind of kept that balance. So again, that formula is 1 hour a day with your wife and 1 day a week spending it with your spouse and going out and getting a small gift during that time. And then number 3, spending an amount of money to get a sizable gift every single month. I hope this helps. May Allah bless you all and protect you. And again, if this was helpful for you, please like and subscribe, and let me know if you want to have a chat, book a call in a session. The link is in the description. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.